Hello, everyone, and a huge welcome back to the Teach Easy English channel. This is the place where we make sure your English sounds simple, natural, and totally confident. I'm your host, Daisy.
And I'm Dave. It is always so great to have you here with us. Whether you're listening while you're busy cooking in the kitchen, driving in your car, or just relaxing at home, we are so happy that you're choosing to spend your time improving your English with us.
Today's topic is something that every single one of us has to talk about at some point: our jobs. It is such a massive part of our daily lives. When you meet new people, when you're chatting with coworkers, or even when you're sitting in a high stakes interview, being able to talk about your job in English is an essential skill.
That's exactly right, Daisy. It is easily one of the most common conversation topics in the world. People love to ask, "So, what do you do?" or "Where do you work?" And if you can answer those questions naturally, it immediately helps you sound more fluent and much more confident.
Exactly. So, in today's podcast, Dave and I are going to talk about our own jobs, how to describe work in a way that isn't boring, and how people all over the world talk about what they do for a living. We're also going to share some specific, common phrases that you can use when describing your own job in English.
Perfect. So let's start very simple. Daisy, what do you actually say when someone asks you that famous question, "What do you do?"
I usually keep it quite simple. I say, I'm an English teacher. But then, if the person looks interested or wants to hear more, I'll add a little extra detail, like I teach English to adults who want to speak more confidently at work or while they're traveling.
Oh, I like that. That is a very nice, natural answer. It's clear and short, but it still provides some great detail.
Yes. Many learners think they need to give a really long, complicated answer, but honestly, one or two sentences is enough to sound natural. For example, you could say, I work in marketing. I'm a nurse at a city hospital. I run my own small business.
Exactly. And the real key to getting this right is using the correct verb. For jobs, we usually say, "I am a," or "I work as a," or "I work in."
Hmm, let's show our viewers exactly how that sounds so they can practice. I am a teacher. I work as a designer. I work in a bank. I work for a company that makes software.
And here's a good one for the entrepreneurs. "I run my own business." That's a great phrase to use if you're self-employed.
Yes, and all of those sound very natural in daily life. So, Dave, let's dig a bit deeper. Tell us more about your job as an English teacher. What is your absolute favorite part of the work?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. My favorite part is seeing my students grow. When someone comes to my class feeling very shy or unsure of themselves, and then after just a few weeks, they start talking more freely. Honestly, that is the best feeling in the world.
I can totally imagine that. It must be so rewarding to watch that kind of transformation happen.
It really is. I think language teaching isn't just about boring grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary, it's about building confidence. I love creating that special space where students feel safe to make mistakes, because, let's be real, that's where the real learning actually happens.
I love that. Safe to make mistakes. That's a beautiful way to put it. So, what about the other side? What's one challenge you face in your job?
Good question. I'd say a big challenge is keeping every single student engaged. In a group, everyone learns at a different pace. Some people catch things very quickly, while others just need a little more time. So I'm always trying to balance it, sometimes with games, sometimes with stories, and sometimes with quiet reflection.
That is so true. Teaching is a very creative job. You're always adapting to the people in front of you.
Exactly. But what about you, Daisy? What does your day-to-day job actually like?
Well, I work as a communication coach. I help professionals improve their public speaking and their workplace English. I show them how to give presentations, how to write professional emails, and how to sound confident in meetings.
Wow, that is a fascinating job. So you're basically teaching people how to speak clearly and professionally in a business environment.
Yes, Many of my clients are people who already speak English quite well, but they really struggle to sound natural or confident. They might have these great, brilliant ideas, but when it's time to express them, they hesitate. So I help them build that clarity and that natural flow.
That is wonderful. And what's one specific thing you've noticed about communication at work?
I think the biggest challenge for most people isn't actually vocabulary, it's the tone. Many learners know the right words, but they can sound a bit too formal or even a little robotic. So I help them use natural expressions. Things like, let's get started, or that's a great point, or could you please clarify? Those are the things that make a conversation much smoother.
That is such an important skill. Sometimes people think speaking English at work means you have to use very stiff, formal phrases, but actually, most modern workplaces today prefer a friendly but professional tone.
Exactly. You don't need to sound like a textbook, right?
Right. And Daisy, how do you usually start your workday?
I usually start around 8:30. I check my calendar, make a big cup of coffee, and go through my emails. Then I plan my sessions for the day. I usually have 3 or 4 clients. Sometimes they're online sessions and sometimes they're in person.
That sounds like a full day.
Yes, it is, but it's very flexible. I love that I can work from different places. And because I work with people from so many different countries, my day always feels fresh. Every single conversation teaches me something new.
That's the best part of working with people. You never stop learning.
Exactly. What about you, Dave? How does your typical day look?
My day starts quite early. I usually wake up around 6 a.m., do a little bit of stretching, and have my breakfast. My first class usually starts at 8 a.m. Most mornings I teach online, so I prepare all my lessons the night before. I really try to use stories, role plays, and real-life examples to make the lessons fun.
That sounds really engaging.
I really try to make English feel alive. For example, if we're learning about travel, I won't just look at a book, I'll ask my students to describe their dream vacation. If we're learning about food, I ask them to talk about their favorite dish. It makes the grammar feel meaningful.
That is great teaching. You're helping them connect the language directly with their real life.
Exactly. And then, after my classes, I usually take a break, maybe go for a walk or grab a coffee. Then I do some lesson planning or record podcasts, like this one right now.
So, your job is a perfect mix of teaching, creativity, and communication. It sounds perfect for you.
Yes, I love it. Daisy, this reminds me of how job conversations happen in small talk. When someone asks you, "What do you do?" It's not just about your title. They are really asking, "Who are you? What is your life like?"
That is such a great point. Talking about your job is a chance to show your personality, your interests, and even your values. For example, someone might say, I'm a nurse, but when they add, I love helping people feel better, it shows so much care and kindness.
Exactly. And even if your current job isn't exactly your dream job, you can still talk about it positively. You can say, "It's busy, but I really like working with my team." Or, "It's challenging, but I learn something new every single day."
Oh, that is such good advice. I think positivity makes any conversation 100 times better.
Yes, and it makes people actually want to keep talking with you.
True. Now, let's imagine some common workplace conversations. For example, someone might ask, how's work going? Or, what do you usually do at work?
Yes, and you can answer like this. "Work is good. A bit busy this week. I usually handle reports and emails. I'm working on a new project right now."
Exactly. Simple answers, short sentences, but they sound completely natural.
And you can also talk about your work environment. For example, "I work in a small office downtown." Or, "I work from home 3 days a week." Or, "I work with a team of about 10 people."
That is so useful. I know many learners struggle with describing exactly where and how they work.
Yes, and if you want to sound even more fluent, you can add how you feel about your work. Things like, "I really enjoy my job because I get to meet new people." Or, "It's sometimes stressful, but I like the challenge." Those are perfect everyday sentences.
And it's totally okay to be honest. If you don't love your job, you can still be polite and say, "It's not my dream job, but it's okay for now."
Exactly. You don't have to pretend, just keep it friendly. Let's talk about some workplace habits, Daisy. What's something you always do at work to stay focused?
Good one. Music swells slightly. I think I always make a to-do list in the morning. It helps me organize my whole day. And I really try not to check my phone too often. It's just way too distracting.
That is smart. I do something very similar. I plan my lessons the night before so I don't feel rushed in the morning, and I always keep water and snacks nearby so I stay energized.
Good habits. I think the little things make a big difference in how you feel at work.
Yes, and for everyone listening, when you talk about your work routine in English, try to use verbs like start, finish, prepare, attend, join, write, manage, and handle.
Right. For example, I start work at 9 o'clock. I handle customer emails. I attend meetings every Tuesday. Or I prepare reports.
Exactly. These are the small details that make your English sound natural. And if you are learning English for work, it's also helpful to know polite phrases like, "Could you please send me that file?" Or, "Let me know if you need any help." Or, "I'll get back to you soon."
Yes, that is perfect business English. It's friendly but professional.
Right. And remember, politeness in English often comes from your tone, not just the specific words you use. Saying please and thank you naturally makes you sound like a real professional.
Exactly. So, Dave, let's have a little fun. If you weren't a teacher, what job do you think you'd be doing?
Ooh, interesting question. Maybe something creative, like writing or even voice acting. I love using my voice, so I think I'd still do something involved with communication.
That makes total sense. You definitely have a storyteller's voice.
Thank you. What about you, Daisy?
I think I'd be a photographer. I love capturing moments, especially people's emotions.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can totally see that for you.
Thanks. I really think jobs are not just what we do, they're how we express who we are. Even if we change jobs or careers, the skills and values we learn stay with us.
I agree completely. And for the English learners listening, remember, talking about your work in English isn't just about memorizing words, it's about telling your story.
That is so true. You can start with very small things like, I work as a nurse, I help people, or I fix computers, or I teach kids. Every job has a story.
Yes, and every single story matters. So, before we finish, let's share those questions again so our listeners can practice.
Good idea. Here are some simple ones you can use. What do you do? Where do you work? What do you like about your job? What's a normal day like for you? Do you work alone or in a team?
Those are great. You can answer them in your mind or practice with a friend. That's how your English becomes more natural, by using it in a real context.
Exactly. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We really hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about our jobs and that you learned some natural ways to talk about your own.
Remember, you don't need perfect grammar to sound confident. You just need real words spoken with a real heart.
That's beautifully said. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the Teach Easy English channel, share it with your friends, and listen again anytime you want to practice.
We'll be back very soon with another real-life English conversation. Until then, stay confident, stay curious, and keep your English super fluent.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.